You can't edit something that doesn't exist.
Even sometimes reading it, I was triggered. I was like, I need a minute. I need to put this book down because it's taking me back to the place that I thought I forgot about. Welcome to the Rap Room podcast, your front row seat to culture, creativity, and connection. I'm your host, Mac, and today's special guest is a spectacular one. She is born and raised in South East London. Taylor-Dior Rumble carved out her space in journalism at the BBC at the age of 18. And now she has novelist to her name with her debut book, The Situationship, published by #MurkyBooks. Welcome to the Rap Room, Taylor-Dior Rumble.
Thank you for
Hey,
having
girl.
me.
Thank you
That's
for
such a
coming.
nice intro.
Thank you. I was like, what else can I add about Taylor-Dior Rumble? Even though we've actually spoken before, because I interviewed you at it was like a panel at Brixton Library, which was incredible. There was 2 other women novelists too, and it was just so beautiful. Even reading your book, The Situationship, which is out now. How does it feel actually seeing an idea that you formed in your brain in real life? Like when you touch it, what are the emotions that run through your mind?
Honestly, my emotion is like, oh, I really did that. I really did that. Sometimes I still can't believe it, but then at the same time, it's like, all right, we've got one, time to bring out another. So I still feel like a great deal of pride, especially like when I'm walking into a Waterstones or something, and I might
Right.
see a couple copies, and it's just like,
That's actually surreal because
it is
Waterstones,
surreal. It
these
is.
big like bookshops that have your book in it. That's crazy. You were just saying that you're thinking about writing another. Is that a pressure that was applied on you after like writing this and having the situationship out already?
It wasn't so much pressure as it was like just excitement for the next thing. I think if anything, there was pressure in my DMs from like readers asking about a sequel.
Right.
Which is definitely, I've got so many ideas for a sequel.
Do
Like
you? Oh, that's exciting.
I've got a few like solid ideas for the sequel, and all I can say is that it's gonna be just really fun, really sexy, like
Ooh.
really flirty, like even though I'm not currently working on the sequel right now, like I'm almost always like thinking about it at some point during the day. I've already got the mood boards going. I've
Oh,
already got
come
the
on.
playlist going. So I'm really, really excited to get into that. But yeah, there's not so much pressure, but just like excitement, I guess, which
Yeah.
is like I'm so grateful for that people like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like even still care or still interested
Absolutely.
in my journey, which is like so nice to think about as I'm trying to like work on the second one. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it must be such a wholesome feeling knowing that people connect with something that you have written. I'd love to know about when you were younger, Taylor Dior. Was writing kind of an outlet for you? Did you like creative writing, thinking about storylines? What were you kind of doing?
100%. Like I feel like I was one of those like I guess lucky few people who knew exactly what they wanted to do from primary school. From
Wow.
primary school, I'd always the first thing I wanted to do was be an author, and then it was as I grew older, I'd kind of swerved into journalism and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. But ever since I was young, like I was a Jacqueline Wilson girly
Come on.
down. I
Oh,
loved
that is
Jacqueline
mother.
Wilson. I would get in trouble by my mum because like she would buy me like a book and I would finish it in like a day, and then I'll be like,
Stop.
so when are
What's the
we
next
going
one?
WH Smith? And she's just like, what? I just spent my big like £8-9. And obviously, like I didn't. We
We're not
didn't have
young.
money like that to
Yeah.
spend like all willy nilly. So yeah, like I was a Jacqueline Wilson girly down,
Mm-hmm.
and like her and like Mallory Blackman as well. Like they made me want to be a writer. And then I think I don't know, as I got older and I just started. Do you know what it was? It was the internet.
Mm.
Tumblr, blogging, those kinds of things kind of came into my life and kind of took over. And I think that's when I decided to like make the turn into journalism. But it's always been writing from like the very beginning.
Wow. And even you mentioning Jacqueline Wilson, even some of the books that she'd written when we were younger, the topics that she spoke about were like serious adult
Yeah.
topics like parental abandonment, drug abuse, all these really heavy topics. When you were writing, did any of your writing reflect the kind of books that you read, or were you just inspired by any and everything?
I think when it came to writing the situationship, I was mainly inspired by the gap that I felt like there was within kind of literature, particularly within like Black British literature. Before I had written the situationship, I think all there was at the time was maybe like Queenie and maybe a couple of other titles. But in
Yeah.
terms of like a romantic comedy
Mm-hmm.
or like something that was lighthearted and fun and flirty and sexy, like the Situationship, I didn't see too much of that like on the shelves. I would see a lot of it like stateside. So like Jasmine Guillory books, I absolutely love her. But there wasn't that Black British contemporary, and that was when I was like, you know what, I'm gonna write the story that I'm craving. So that was what inspired like a lot of the Situationship. And then obviously like stuff that I'd grown up watching, like Girlfriends and Sex in the City. And as I got older, like Insecure,
Yeah.
just stories about like women, but mainly Black women, just trying to find themselves, find their voices, and navigate balancing like friendships, romance, and like their careers. Like I eat those kinds of stories up. So for that to be like the main themes of my first novel was just like so natural. And I think another thing I thought to myself while I was trying to think of what to write was, if this was the only book I was ever going to like write and get published, and I have a little sister as well, I was thinking to myself like, what kind of message would I want to give to like my little sister Mia and my cousin Anaya? And you know, I feel like the book's message is the exact kind of thing I'd want them to learn
Yeah.
and take with them throughout their like adulthood, which is to like choose yourself, to not settle for less, to not settle for crumbs of affection, and
Yeah.
to go where you're loved and appreciated. So all of that was basically what inspired me to write The
That's
Situationship.
such a beautiful collection
Thank
of
you.
whys and why this book exists. And I'm pretty sure like your sister and your cousin will have this book and will take it throughout their lives. I feel like it's one of those books that you can always come back to and be like, there's a lesson in this season that I'm in. And there's always just a
Thank
reminder
you.
to not, it's true, don't accept those crimes of affection. For anyone who's never read Situationship before, it's basically about, you know, the protagonist Tia, who is a driven young journalist, navigating the blurred lines of modern dating, friendship, and self-worth, as you mentioned. But then she becomes heartbroken when the love of her life, Aaron, comes back from a short stint in America with a girlfriend. She's like, well, what's going on? Like, I thought I was your love of your life as well. And then she decides to go to dating apps, which is something that our
Hell
generation
on
is.
earth. Let's just get right to it.
The people on Hinge are unhinged.
Unhinged.
They are just finished. And that's where she discovers and meets a photographer called Nate, and they have a situationship. For some people who don't know what situationship is, kind of that middle ground where it's not a friendship, but it's not really a romantic relationship. There's no commitment there. But I guess always one person desires something out of it. And I just want to know, like, why did you decide to create in a novel and not like an article or a blog post? Why was a book the media form that you wanted to release a story in?
That's such a good question. To be honest, by the time I'd started writing The Situationship, I had actually left BBC News, and it, a lot of my experiences that I felt like as a journalist during that time period is definitely reflected in that book. And you know, I think with the BBC specifically, because there is so much like red tape and guidelines. Because of that red tape, I just felt like I couldn't be creative there. So I felt like the only way to tell that story best would be like through a book. And again, like growing up, I was a big reader. Um, I've always seen myself as a storyteller in one way, and I just felt like a novel would be the best medium for me to get out all of my angst and all of my frustrations
Right.
and all of like my issues with like modern dating and things like that. So in some ways it's actually a very selfish book. It was a very cathartic process. It was just me just getting out, being in my feelings on the page, and I'm just welcoming everyone else
Yeah.
to
To your
join in
own world.
with me. Exactly.
It's your world we're living in it. That's literally what it is.
Exactly.
And that's what it's meant to be though, because you as an author, it is something that comes out of you. Like you might be inspired by other things, but at the end of the day, you're the one writing those characters and those
Mhm.
storylines. What I realized when reading the Situationship is that there's no clear trope. You know, usually in books, it's like friends to lovers or strangers to lovers, enemies to lovers, whatever it might be. When reading the Situationship, I felt like it definitely broke the mold of like the modern day rom-com. Was that intentional when you were writing it?
I think when it came to writing the Situationship, another motivation I had, and this is probably gonna like, I guess, give away like some of the plot, but when I was writing it, I had just grown really frustrated with the fact that all these romantic comedies that I really, really do love and really cherish, but all of these romantic comedies and romance stories and things like that, um, there was always like a man attached to the happy ending when
Oh.
in reality it's not that way and it doesn't have to be that way. um Being like chosen by a guy is not necessarily the be all and end all of our like existence as like women, and I feel like that is preached a lot, particularly to like young women. And I'm thinking of like, you know, my sister and my cousins, like music, TV, film, books, everything is kind of like geared towards making sure that like you need to get the guy, you need to get the ring, the wedding, the house. And like we see everyone else's like lives on Instagram and they're like ticking off this like internal checklist and all of these other things. And I just wanted to write something that was like, no, the happy ending is not, it doesn't have to be whether you're partnered or not. The
Yeah.
happy ending is you like being happy with yourself, being fulfilled, and knowing that you didn't compromise your self-worth
Mm-hmm.
for the sake of like making something else happy, whether it be a man or whether it be like your colleagues or your boss at work. So that was one of the main drives behind writing the book. But what I will say is when it came to the marketing for the book,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like some parts of the message of the book maybe got lost a little bit, in the
Mm-hmm.
sense that I feel like because my team wanted to do the best they could in pushing me out as like this debut author, which I like hugely appreciate and I'm so grateful for, I think marketing it as a rom-com
Right.
was like the strongest way to really push the book out there. Even though I won't lie, there are rom-com elements, like
Absolutely.
strong rom-com elements
Mm-hmm.
in the book. I think what was new for me was when the book was out and, you know, die-hard romance readers picked up the book, and I think they came to the book with certain expectations,
Yeah.
and an expectation of a like bog standard romance
Rom-com.
book is that, you know, the the lovers reunite or get together in the end kind of thing. And I think that did leave a few people disappointed, but then other people who were expecting that same result were also pleasantly surprised.
Right.
So it was a bit of a risk, but yeah, going
Yeah.
into it, I didn't want to do the whole trope kind of thing. I'll be so real. Before I had written the Situationship, like even though I am a reader, I wasn't all clued up into like the book talk lingo, like
Me neither,
black cat,
girl.
golden retriever,
I'm
friends
still
to
figuring
lovers.
that out.
Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
was just
Still
like,
figuring it
I,
out.
I didn't know there was like proper solid terminology for it. I was just like, yeah, I just love these films and books, and I just kept it moving. Do you know what I
That's
mean? So
real.
it was such a proper like learning curve. So now
Yeah.
going into the second one, it's like I know the tropes, I know the buzzwords, I know like how to get the girlies going. Like I'm
Yeah.
not gonna disappoint again.
Do you know what's so interesting? Because now you know that. Do you think that's going to change the way you write your next book, or is changing the way you're approaching it?
I think it's changing my approach slightly, but at the end of the day, I'm just gonna write like
Whatever you want.
whatever I
Yeah.
want to write. But yeah, I think it's made me more aware, I guess, in a business kind of sense, and it's also made me decide that like, you know, when it comes to sending the book out to publishers and stuff like that, I'm going to be very, very firm and solid on what exactly it is that this book is about.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely changing my approach slightly. And now that I know of all these tropes and all these like subgenres and stuff like that, I think it's gonna help me like sell the book and market the book better to like publishers.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So then what would you have marketed, if it was down to you, what would you have marketed the Situationship as? If it's not really a rom-com and it's not really, I don't know what else it could be. What would you say it is?
I guess like is women's fiction like just is too generalized, right? Maybe
Right.
like I would say like women's fiction. I don't see. I really want to say like coming of age
Yeah,
vibes, but
contemporary.
yeah, definitely contemporary romance
Yeah.
in that case. Yeah, for sure. But I don't know if because Tia is in her mid-20s, I don't know if that's too old for like coming of
Oh
age.
my gosh, they're
But
strict.
do you know what I'm
The
because
book industry is strict. What
I
do you
I
mean?
don't know. I'm just like guessing because when I think of like coming of age stories, I think of like kids, like secondary school kids, like
Okay, I get what you
16-year
mean.
olds.
Yeah,
But to me, there are definitely like coming of age like elements to it
I
because we
agree.
do follow her through this journey where she's like discovering herself and what she
Mhm.
wants. And
Mhm.
I think you said it best, like
Yeah.
contemporary romance for sure.
I think that works. It's not really too boxed into like a
Yeah,
specific gender or age
yeah,
group. It's just kind
definitely.
of
But the
varied.
rom-com girlies will enjoy. Like
Absolutely.
I'm
If you
adamant about that as a rom-com girly.
get it, honestly get it. There's a lot of messy love and dating apps in there. You mentioned how this book was very cathartic to write. Were there any points that were really tough to put pen to paper on? Because even sometimes reading it, I was triggered. I was like, I need a minute. I need to put this book down because it's taking me back to a place that I thought I forgot about.
Do you know what? I think by the time I had written it, I was like already healed,
Oh,
like
I love that for you.
from all the BS, and I was just like, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna let it out, kind of thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think I was already healed by the time I had written it. I think maybe the toughest, do you know, what? Maybe the toughest parts was made more so about like the struggles that Tia was going through, like in her career. Even though I had already made peace with like my difficulties, like
Hmm.
as like a young black like female journalist. um yeah, so that I guess coming to terms with like the stuff that I was feeling and telling myself that
Hmm.
like no, you're not making this up. How you
This
felt was
is valid.
valid
Yeah.
and you can put that on paper, like
Hmm.
it's fine. I guess that was probably the toughest part.
Hmm.
Not so much the messy dating and all the situationships. So that was fun to write because it's like it's a mess and it's like I'm the author of this. Like for a second I was like, this is how Tyler Perry must feel
Oh my god, that's
when
so
he
funny.
writes everything because everything's just so messy.
All we needed is a character with a messy wig in there, and
Oh
it's a
my god,
Tyler Perry
I
script.
would never do that.
No, no.
I would never do
When I
that.
picture Tia, she's well put together. Her hair is fab. But can we touch quickly upon
Mm-hmm.
your experience as a young Black female journalist,
Mm-hmm.
talking about the topics that you did talk about? You know, it was from popular culture to race politics. Were there any times you felt like some of the stories you wanted to share were maybe a bit too Black, or this is not what we're going to talk about? Taylor Dior.
Do you know what, me and my friends, we started
Mm.
on an apprenticeship scheme,
Oh, nice.
and so it was really lovely that I already had like other kind of people to like lean on and stuff like
Mm.
that. And me and my friend, when we were working like in a department together, we had this like private joke that like you could get a story about like an animal or an old person commissioned quicker than you can about like a black person. Like if
Really?
you want to get your thing commissioned, find like an old retired like boxer who just lives alone with like 30 dogs. That's gonna go straight. That's gonna get cooked. Listen, they'll commission it before you even finish your pitch. But try and like pitch something about us,
Mm.
our community, what's like worrying us or like what brings us joy and stuff like that. You're gonna be in for a
A
for a
long, tough
ride
ride.
kind of thing. So yeah, that was a big part of my experiences and definitely
Hmm.
one that I had to put into the situationship for sure.
I can imagine
But I
that.
also want to like say that thankfully like there were a lot of like senior journalists, particularly the ones like of color, that were completely supportive. They'd obviously been in that environment for a very long time and they
Hmm.
were willing to give like free game
Mm.
and be that source of support, which I'm so glad that I did find in a lot of my colleagues, as well as my mentor Brenda Amanis, who inspired like one
Oh,
of my favorite characters in the book.
yes.
So there were like some, you know, glimmers of light like within like my experiences there for sure.
Yes. And even the fact that this is more than just a rom-com, because Tia's experience and her ambitious attitude towards her career was still also, I would say, like just as equal.
Quite prominent.
Yeah. Was it important to, you know, show a Black woman in her wholeness, whether it be showing her as a hopeless romantic, but also showing her as a very hardworking, ambitious individual too.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're not like two-dimensional. And I feel
True.
like within media, especially like portrayals of like Black women, it's
Mm-hmm.
like it's always the like sassy best friend, or like the placeholder girlfriend that
Oh
gets dashed to the side so he can go with like
boy.
somebody else. Kind of thing. So like absolutely, but also that's the storytelling that I grew up watching. Like I love Mara Brock Akil, who's like like her legacy already is just so amazing. And again, she constantly showed like Black women in all their fullness, in all different shades, going
Yes.
through every single facet of life. So it just felt really natural to then do the same within like my work. So
Mm.
yeah, it was hugely important. And I just feel like as like Black female creators, it's just a natural thing to want to do, to
So true.
provide the things that we didn't get growing up.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just like a no-brainer, to be honest.
Yeah, and you bridge those gaps so well. Stylist magazine even said that, you know, this book, The Situationship, bridges the gap between Bridget Jones and Insecure. Because it's so true. In Insecure, we see ourselves in Issa,
Mm-hmm.
in her best friends, in the situations that she's in. And
In
it's
the
like
messiness of
the
everything, like her
messiness.
friendships,
Yeah.
the relationships, the career, and
Yeah.
like and I loved it. I love
Yeah.
Insecure down.
What I love the most about the situationship is how Black it is as well. From, you know, the slang that's used, the language, the hair and her hair routine, the music. Why did you want to reflect the Black British essence of a Black British woman in the situationship? Why was that so important? Because I would say our society is quite Americanized as well, but you
100%.
made it sure that no, like this is a Black British woman's experience.
Thank you. That's such a good question, and it feels like yeah, it's something that I did with like Vim, but
Mm.
honestly, it just felt so natural to me.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I think about it, like you are so right. Like a lot of our culture is Americanized. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I like love where I'm from, and I
Yeah.
love our little nuances. I love the way like we speak, and um so it just felt very very natural. I
Mm.
wasn't thinking like right, like this is the mission, and because I also wanted it to be authentic. And I
Yeah.
think my one fear whilst I was writing the book was like I didn't want this to be like this forced kind of like, how do I say, like another hood kind of script kind of
Oh,
vibe.
a hood
I didn't
classic.
I didn't want it to be like that. I wanted it to feel like real.
Yeah.
And again, I was writing for like me, but I was also writing for my girls and like
Mm.
anyone else on ends who wants like a light-hearted, sexy, fun book. So
Yeah.
it just felt very, very natural. But again, I think moving forward, that's just what I'm always gonna continue to do. And
Mm-hmm.
um I guess what I said earlier speaks to what you just said about how Americanized, like, I guess our pop culture is and stuff. But, you know, looking at the bookshelves, the only contemporary kind of light-hearted Black romances there were all American. Loved them because they're
Right.
huge inspirations. But I didn't quite find the Black British counterparts to that, which is why I wanted to bring like something like
Mm-hmm.
the Situationship out.
And you brought it. And
Thank you.
I love the fact that it was just so authentic. Like you didn't even think it, and it was just you just bringing out that authentic Black Britishness that lives on the inside of you. Saying that you wrote the book for your girls as well, is so relatable because the friendships that are in this book are just. We all have a friend that are like the sort of supporting characters in this book. Like Tia's relationship with her best friends, Luca and Hannah. I love the dynamic between
Thank
them. It's
you.
just sensational. Even her relationship with her work bestie, Bemi, and the fact that her name is Bemi, anyways. Why was it so important that those dynamics existed within the book? Because sometimes you read like love romantic books and it's just about the romance. It's as
Just
if she
them
has
and the
no
guy.
friends. She has no
No
job,
life.
no life. I don't even know what her job is. I don't even know
Right.
if she has work friends. It's just her and the man. And it's like, that's not real though.
Exactly.
I don't get that.
It was that frustration. But there's more to our lives than getting partnered and
Mm-hmm.
finding a man. And don't get me wrong, I want to preface, I love love.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Don't we all?
romance. I love all the sappy, warm, gooey feelings that come with it.
Yeah.
Trust me, I really, really do. But I also think there is more to our existence
Yeah.
as women
Mm-hmm.
than preparing ourselves for marriage or being partnered up and wifed off and whatever.
Mm.
And like, even whilst I was writing the book, it really did reflect like my life up until that point. Like dating, I was just like, nah, not so much. That's cute, fun, or whatever. But I
Yeah.
loved being with my friends. I loved going out. I loved trying to like, think of ideas and what I could pitch at work so I could get
Yeah.
ahead further because, like for me personally, like my job that's connected to my purpose. That's what brings me like life and makes me feel alive and stuff like that.
Mm.
Not just getting a man kind of
True.
thing.
It's so
And I
true.
just wanted, again, it was this thing that what would I want to tell my little sister or my little cousin? And it's
Mm.
like, look, love is great and fine and beautiful, but
Yeah.
also like focus on the other areas of your life as well. Like try and make this big, beautiful life. So you don't have to like be chasing crumbs of something from somebody because there's nothing else happening. Do you know what I mean?
I love that.
Thank
I
you.
love that, creating a big, beautiful life for yourself, because it is true. We're here for a finite amount of time. So
Mm-hmm.
why not create it for ourselves? You saying your purpose, that's part of your purpose. What do you think your purpose is, Taylor Dior?
Big question. I think right now I would like to think that my purpose is telling stories that empower Black women and make them feel like the best version of themselves.
Hmm.
I think that would be my purpose right now.
That's a beautiful
For now.
purpose.
Thank you.
And that's come a long way from you being a journalist, writing about all kinds of things related to pop culture. For any journalist who does want to pivot into creative writing or fiction writing, what would you tell?
This piece of advice is going to be a little bit boring, I'm
No, go
afraid.
for it.
But like, there's no such thing as like the perfect first draft, whether that be for an article that you're working on, like a long read, or whether it be like the draft for your novel. Like, I'd say it's so important to not get in your head about
Mm,
trying to make this like flawless first draft when that like doesn't exist. That's very, very rare. And I feel like I'm saying this out loud more as a reminder for myself,
good.
but you can't edit something that doesn't exist. So
Oh,
it's best to just put it out onto the page so at least then we can work on something, we can go back and tighten it up, but
mm,
it needs to exist first. Just make it first and then we can go back in and like do the fine tuning. So just to not get in your head about things and just just feel free and
mm,
express yourself. And it feels so strange saying that because like as a journalist I felt like I was under all these kind of like constraints, and I think that's what took me a while to start writing the situationship, is because
yeah,
I had to free myself from all of these things that I felt like were kind of like drilled into me, and just letting go and having fun on the
yeah.
page.
Oh,
So
that is
yeah.
so, so good. Girl, you're speaking to me right now, because even in doing and creating this podcast, I was like just planning. And it's like, yeah, at some point you actually got to do it and actually reach out to people.
And it's so hard, but like once you started, then we
Yeah,
can start looking back and thinking, okay, that didn't go so well, so I'll change this and change that. But
yeah.
can't do that until
You
you
have
start.
something to work with.
Exactly. And I'm saying this to myself again because you're killing it, and it's just like, yeah, you're inspiring me. So
We're inspiring
honestly,
each
you're
other.
doing,
I know you're gonna go home
and that's
and work on that second book.
I'm gonna try. I'm definitely gonna
No
try. I need
pressure.
to.
No pressure. I've got to ask, especially in the creative industry, AI is that word, or whatever it is, that thing that's just like a dark cloud hanging over us. We know it's here, but we're kind of pretending like it's not. I guess at some point we do have to accept that it's just a part of the world that we're in. Are you worried about its impact on the creative industry? Is that something that's just lingering?
100%.
Wow.
It's so concerning like how many people are actually interested in like picking up a book written by a machine. Like that doesn't even make sense coming out
Not
of
at
my
all.
mouth. What are we actually talking about?
I don't know.
Can we use AI to save the planet? Can
Yeah.
we use
Right.
like AI technology to try and slow down global warming?
Mm-hmm.
There are so many other issues in the world we
It's
could be
true.
solving and investing in, but
Mm.
like art, like that's the vessel for like the human spirit, for the
Yeah.
soul. What are we even talking about, kind of thing? That's the stage I'm at when it comes to like these AI conversations. Like not only is it killing our planet,
Yeah.
but it's like we're like destroying the thing that like makes humans like special.
Mm.
Like what are we talking about?
Babe.
And it's like, it's now you really got me going, but it's the fact that like it's taking and combining like real life like talent and emotions and like all the hard work that we've put into these books. That's AI is just recycling it. And it
Yeah.
doesn't even hit the same when you read like certain like
It
AI,
don't.
it doesn't even hit the same. So it's like, what are we actually doing? Even like when it comes to like music as well, like there was news about like Timberland is starting a new label with
I
like an
heard.
AI
I
artist.
heard.
What are we doing?
Because there's literally artists who work their asses off and were picking a robot over
He
real human
did
being.
TikTok lives with
Insane.
them. It's like, what are
Insane.
we actually talking about?
Yeah.
Like, art is what makes humans like so special, and we're just letting this happen. But yeah, I don't feel good about it at all. I think it is absolutely awful, and yeah, I'm quite. I don't want to say frightened, but yeah, I'm very worried for the future. But more so that there are people actually interested in
Yeah.
like wanting to read a book written by AI. Like, what are we doing? What are
When
we
you could
actually
just read it,
doing?
there's so millions of books out there,
Millions.
different perspectives from real life human beings.
So we need to concentrate on something else.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things that are wrong with the world.
Mm-hmm.
We do not need to be entertaining books written by AI or anything created
I
by
agree.
AI for that matter. But please,
Sorry to dampen the mood. Well, let's liven it up.
it's like
Taylor-Dior, I asked you to bring something sentimental to the podcast.
Mhm.
So what are you bringing to the rap room?
So I wear this every day. Well, my mum got me this necklace of the
Amazing.
crucifix, so that's like for my faith.
Mm-hmm.
But this is my dad's wedding ring.
Oh,
He passed away in 2019, and it was
sorry to hear.
after that that really inspired me to like go full force and write the situationship. Just because like another reason why I guess I really, really love the book is that it just harkens back to this like place that I was at before he got really poorly, and when all my biggest worries were just like dating and the job and the friends and going out and getting drunk and stuff like
Right.
that. So the reason why this is so sentimental to me though is because he obviously didn't get to see like the book being published and all that kind of stuff, but he always, always, always believed in me. He was like the best storyteller.
Oh.
He was like an amazing poet. And so like I wore this at my launch. Like I've never taken this off basically. So it feels like I've got a little bit of him throughout this entire process and like for the future as well. So yeah.
I love how sentimental that is, first and foremost. Even you saying that you feel like he's not here, I genuinely feel like he's there.
Oh no,
You know?
definitely.
Yeah.
But this just feels like I got like a little piece of him, like
Yeah.
that's out and about trying to get this second book done and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's so beautiful. I really appreciate how vulnerable you've been on this episode, especially with your journey and your debut novel that's literally out now. What is a message that has been keeping you in this season?
Man, you and these questions,
Girl, we're going deep.
Oh my goodness. I think the message for this season, for me anyway, right now, is being still doesn't mean that you're stuck. I feel like we're in, especially in this day and age, it just feels like you always have to be on the go. We want things instantly. We want things like today or tomorrow, next day delivery, da 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 da, which I'm very guilty of. Like I'm only human, but yeah, being still and just embracing what's happening in the present and taking your time with things, it doesn't mean you're going to be stuck there forever. And I feel like that's something that we all need reminding of in such like a fast-paced world.
Yeah.
And I feel like, yeah, my faith has definitely been super instrumental in reminding me that just because God wants me in this area for a moment, that's exactly what it is. It's just a moment. And like I don't know what he's got written for me in like the next chapter of my life, but I just do feel like being still means that I can prepare myself for whatever it is he has in store. So yeah, being still doesn't mean that you're stuck.
Beautiful answer. Wow. I've never heard of it put that way, because in the scripture we know that, be still, know that I am God. But being still does not mean you're stuck. Is just, that's sensational. Someone needed to hear that. I need to hear that too.
Thank you. I can't take credit for that though, because lately my pastor has been,
Preaching.
when it's like they're telling your life story on stage. So I can't even take credit for that. So
Yeah.
yeah, shout out to my
Oh,
pastor.
I love that. That's so beautiful. Can you tell us where we can support you, where we can buy your book, where we can find you on the internet?
Yeah,
Where
of
are you,
course.
Taylor Dior?
So you can buy the Situationship at all book retailers. And in terms of support, you can hit me up on like Instagram. I really want to say TikTok, but I am not that trendy. I'm old girl.
No, you're not
So
old.
you can find me on Instagram at Taylor-Dior with 2 R's at the end. And let's have a kiki in the DMs.
Yes.
Tell me what you think about the book.
Mm.
And I am currently working on the second novel, so pray for me.
We're keeping your prayers.
Thank
Do
you.
we have a date of when we can expect the second novel?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
I wish, I so
Okay.
wish I did, but when I do, I'm gonna let you know for sure.
Please do. I'd love to even read like the proof when the first copy.
It's
Like,
already,
I'd love
it's
to.
already done. You already know it.
Oh,
So
thank you, girl.
as soon as I get my stuff together,
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit
And I
you
trust
up.
you will. I trust you will. Well, thank you so much for
Thank you for
gracing us
having me.
on the Rap Room podcast. You've been sensational, and we'll be supporting and just looking out for you always,
Thank
Taylor Dior.
you.
So it's a wrap in the Rap Room podcast.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.